Okay, hello, and welcome. I wish I had a fancier setup here, but we're working on what we got right now. Um, it is midnight. It is midnight over here, and I am very excited, so hype, for our very first guest. Um, so, sorry, not the best host. A bad introductions, but I will say that I'm very appreciative for everybody joining us today. I'm very appreciative for everybody checking out the book fair. Um, Thank you to everybody who is watching and who is about to watch. If sorry, I'm like, why am I so nervous? But hello. So, in 4 minutes, we're going to have our very first guest on, and it is the incomparable Stephanie Williams. If you know anything about comics, then you know Stephanie Williams, okay? Like, I said this earlier when I was on live a few hours ago, that like having a black woman be so like pivotal and so important in the comic space is like heartwarming. So I was talking with a friend the other day about some of the first comics I actually bought was Sonic the Hedgehog from the gas station. If y'all remember when they used to send, hello Astronym, hello everybody. If you guys remember back in the day, and this is showing my age, but they used to sell Sonic the Hedgehog comics at the gas station. And so growing up, you see comics, you see comic people, but to see a comic writer who is like so, oops, hold on one moment. I gotta put my phone on DND. Okay, we're back. I had to put my phone on DND because this is such a big deal, and I cannot mess this up. So, if you guys have any questions for Stephanie, please drop them in the chat as she comes on. The Q&A will be moderated by Victoria L. Johnson from Mooney's Club. Mooney's Club is a Sailor Moon fan club with, kind of like a media company with a podcast and parties and events that they promote for Magical Girl fans. Oh, okay, there she goes. There's Victoria. Let's get her in. Did it work? Oh. Oh my gosh, okay, it worked. Hello. Okay, so I was just explaining what you do, but you
Oh,
explain it better. So please tell the people who you are and what you be doing.
yes, I'm doing a lot. That's a problem, but I'm Sailor Victoria or Victoria L. Johnson. I run Mooney's Club, which is a events company, creative productions. We do a podcast called the Sailor Moon Fan Club, where I interview Sailor Moon fans, and then our events are the Sailor Moon Day Party, but we also do the Magical Girls Festival, which is the largest celebration of magical girls in the United States.
Hey.
And I have my mom.
Oh my gosh! Yay! I wish I had my Mooney's jacket. But
Oh.
anyway, y'all heard that. If you love Sailor Moon, Cardcaptor, my brain is like turning into mush. Even
Feel
Totally.
you. Yeah.
But
Penguin drum.
yes, Bulls of the Magical Girl Fest in September in New York City. It's free, right? It's free.
It's
fun.
not free.
Oh shit.
It was free for the last 2 years. We did switch to a paid con this year. It is $20 though, so hopefully affordable. But yeah, no, what's it called? Just prices have been going up, and we had to expand. We had I think 2,000 people last year, and so it was a little tight. And so, we want to make the experience better for people. And so we, went to a new venue. It's a little bit bigger. We can have more vendors. We'll have more special guests this year. Last year, we were only able to fit one. We had Terry Hawks, though, which was amazing. The voice actress for Sailor Moon in the 90s, in the Deke version.
Yes.
Yeah. And so, but this year we'll have two special guests who I have not announced yet. We'll be announcing soon
Ooh,
and a bunch of cool programming and just a lot of fun things in the works. Hopefully people find it worth it that we're paid now, but I think they will.
I think it should have stayed from jump, to be honest. But you know. So
Thanks,
cool.
thanks,
We
thanks.
have Stephanie who is here. Hopefully it connects.
Yay.
Oh my goodness. I'm like shaking. I can't wait to turn my camera off. Like,
You're doing great. You're doing great.
oh. Hello, Stephanie.
Hey y'all.
Hey, I was explaining how you are so amazing and incredible because having a black woman be like this powerhouse, like you're like the goddess of comics. I don't even know.
Y'all, please. Jackie,
I love
please.
that.
Thank you. I have been enjoying just your Monster High series and stuff like Riley. I'm not sure if she's still your editor on there, but always speak your praises.
No, I love her. Oh my gosh. I love
Yeah. And hey, Victoria.
Hey, Steph.
okay.
I've
So,
Yeah.
also just been enjoying all the comics.
Thank you. Thank you. Thank you.
I'm gonna shut off my camera um so that I can go nervously cry and I will let you guys have your
I'm gonna join you in about an hour after. So this is Nervous Crash Saturday.
Add it to the schedule, the Black Girl Book Fair schedule.
Yes.
maybe can I put the schedule on here? Anyway, let me just shut my camera off. I'll be
Bye, Jackie.
Bye.
Hey, Steph.
Hey, long time no
When
see.
I know. When
yeah.
Jackie asked me about this, I was thinking back to how when you were on my podcast and you
Hmm.
had um, Living Heroes and Parenthood Activate.
Yeah, yeah,
And
yeah.
now
That's
I was
right,
like, you have so much.
girl. Thank you first, but
Mhm.
I don't know. Maybe it's just been this year, but it's just been one of those things where 10,000 foot view, and it's kind of like, well, shit. I'm really doing this.
Mhm.
And I'm still doing it. And I just feel extremely grateful because, I mean, not to like be humble or anything, but like it didn't have to be me. You know what I mean? Like there are so many wonderful creatives, yourself included. So to be in the position that I am right now, it's just really surreal, but it just reminds me that got to get more of us here because who doesn't enjoy being the only one in the room? I don't. I hate that shit.
Mhm.
So I just love that, you know, this Black Girl Book Fair exists so that more people can come read our shit and support us.
Yeah, I completely agree. Like, we definitely could always be more in the room. Like, there's never enough. My personal thing
No.
is, if it could fit on a Wikipedia page, there's not enough.
Period. Period.
hmm
Yes.
Like, you can list it all out there. Nope, we need different
That's not
different
enough.
sections. Like, we want a whole
Yes.
page of just like sci-fi Black writers. Like,
Yes.
but yeah, I do want to list some for the folks who may not know. I have a list of some of your comments. I couldn't list all of them because there are just so many right now.
No, you
But
be here all day.
be here all day, which like, but
Right.
Nubia and the Amazons, The Raven Boys, My Little Pony, Street Sharks, Strange and Unsung All Stars of the DC Multiverse with a forward by James Gunn,
Go figure,
Sesame
right?
Street, Batman the Brave and the Bold, and Star Trek. And I know I'm missing a bunch. And then you have now your own original stories with Temporal and Roots of Madness, which is so exciting too, which is what I want
Thank
to focus
you.
on today. But I just wanted people to know, like, this is who we're talking to right here.
Thank you. Thank you. Seriously.
Yeah. But for Temporal and Roots of Madness, like, how did those two ideas come about?
So, I wish that I can give you like this very artistic, grand thing, but you know me, a lot of it is just mundane things, and me turned it into this fantastical. So, for both Roots of Madness and also Temporal, our mutual friend Aaron Reese, this came from conversations with him, right? Randomly talking about Madam C.J. Walker on a Tuesday because Aaron and I had nothing else to do. And I just remember telling him about my misconception in third grade when we first learned about her. And I was like, oh man, like she was a really cool scientist. Sort of, kind of, but not really.
Mhm.
We
Right.
know her as the first Black woman to be a millionaire, but I was always just fascinated by the fact that this Black woman was able to do what she was during this time period. Reconstruction and post Reconstruction era is always something that's been very I don't know, like very interesting to me, and I feel like we don't get a lot of Black stories from us during that
Mhm.
time period, especially in the comic space. So shout out to Miss Beverly Jenkins, who I love her historical romance, but I kid you not, it was literally reading oh, what had I just read? It was actually one of her more contemporary books, On the
Mhm.
Edge of Dawn, that
Mhm.
really just got the idea rolling post the conversation with Aaron. And I was just like, you know what? What if I did like
Mhm.
an alternate history where Madam C.J. Walker was a chemist? And then I was like, well, no, let me not touch her legacy in that way and just make a character inspired by this misconception I had, but still kind of fashion it after her life. So that's pretty much how Roots of Madness came to be. I had pitched Ignition Press something totally different. And I think it was like a week or two before Baltimore Comic Con, and I like told my editor, I was like, "Hey, so Paul Psych." On the one thing that I pitched y'all, I actually have this other idea, and then he loved it. And when I got to Baltimore, I met another editor and founder named Philip Salbic, and I think I said like two sentences to him, and he was like, "Yes, that's the one." So it just felt like one of those lightning in the bottle moments where this was the story that needs to be told, and that was the perfect place. Same thing with Temporal. Aaron was making fun of me because I was, I think I had just got back from a convention and I was looking for my son. I was looking for a Game Gear because at this time he's still like this, but he wanted to be a video game purist and he wanted to play
Mhm.
like whatever the retro games were on the actual thing instead of just playing it on the Switch.
I love it. I'm
So
the same
because I
way.
even had to find him Sailor Moon, like the Sailor Moon. Yeah,
Wait,
so
animated?
he for the Nintendo, the Super Nintendo. So it's a pink cartridge.
Oh, oh
Yeah.
yeah. I
Yeah, yeah.
have.
So I had to find him that. So I found that and a Game
Mhm.
Gear. And Aaron was like, okay, so you just kind of out here like a Laura Croft in these convention streets. And I was like, well, yes, I am. So then the idea came, and I was just like, well, what if there was this mom who used to be like an ex-time thief, and I was watching Time Cop, John Claude Van Damme, just like silly sci-fi stuff. And I thought, well, no, this would be a great setting for a story. And I just got to telling it. Yeah, like maybe one day I'll be able to tell folks like, yeah, I was, really trying to work through this and that. And like, this is where this story came from. But right now, a lot of my stories are just, hmm, then maybe that would make a good book. And so far, so
Mhm.
good.
Yeah, no, this is exciting. And I feel like Temporal feels such like a mom story of this idea of like trying to be in
You.
multiple places and doing different things.
Yeah.
So yeah, it makes a lot of sense. And I love that both of these ideas started with Aaron because that just feels right.
Yeah, it does. Because I
Hmm.
mean the same thing with Aaron's Bitchcraft and stuff like that.
Hmm.
Like a lot of this is just conversations and letting folks know like all of us are storytellers and we all have that in
Hmm.
it. It's just finding the correct medium, of course, the time, the space, money, and all of these things. But like you got those stories there. And again, like it doesn't have to be some, this muse that struck you and that's how you told your story. Sometimes it's just bills got to be paid. And that's the muse.
Yeah.
So this
Or
is
just
why
a
I write
random,
as much as I do, right?
right. No, that makes a lot of sense. Definitely bills got to be paid. Creative juices need to be, or I feel like for me, I need to satisfy the creative person in me. Like my brain won't shut
Yes.
up until I do something sometimes. So it's
Hmm.
definitely a little bit of both. So I
Yeah.
definitely get that. um, with both of these, you mentioned like Madam C.J. Walker and like being inspired by that, and obviously like dealing with different things in both. How much research do you put into your writing, and how does that process go?
so much. So this is where I think the scientific background comes in, and really more so just being trained to think like a scientist in my previous career. That is the
Mhm.
way that I approach comics and my comic research. So for Roots of Madness, again, shout out to Miss Beverly Jenkins because she referenced a very real book, and it was about just slave quilts and different coding that was used. And I found that utterly fascinating. So I checked that book out and I just got to reading it. And then I read some more stuff about the Gullah Geechee culture because the story takes place in Savannah, Georgia. I'm already in the South. So I was like, well, I should go to Savannah, Georgia. And I did. It was like a 4 hour
Yay.
drive. Yeah, and also spent some time in Charleston, South Carolina as well, because that's not too far from where I am. So really immersing myself in whatever it is that I'm talking about, that's just something that I feel is important.
Mhm.
Especially because it's a time period piece. And I said that I would never do that. I would never tell a story past 1980, and I lied to myself.
Wait, why?
Because it's really, I don't know, it was out of fear. Unfortunately, I was not thinking as a creative at that time. I was really more so in the fan perspective, reader perspective, and
Mhm.
a lot of stories that we get from this time period, at least in the mainstream, like they're from a white lens, and it feels like it's more not even necessarily just the trauma of it all. Like
Mhm.
I never walk away feeling inspired. However,
Um,
reading like a Beverly Jenkins historical romance,
mhm.
way feeling inspired because I am seeing black folks still, fall in love and have these careers and these interesting lives, even though all of this other stuff is going on. I even think of Toni Morrison in Beloved. And when I found out where that story was, and what inspired that story and what Tony turned it into, it was like, well, no, like we can tell stories during this time
Right.
period, and it's not that we ignore what's happening, but that's not the necessarily the focal point. You and
Mhm.
I would not be here right now if that
Right.
was our ancestors. Like if they just was like, man, shit is real bad. So I guess we might as well lay down. Like that's not the case, right?
Mhm.
Like
Right.
we're here
There's
because
no joy.
somebody,
Mhm.
yes, like there was
Mhm.
still joy, and we're here because somebody lived through that. So
Mhm.
to me it makes sense to honor that with a story that shows just our resilience and
Mhm.
our ingenuity. I mean, slave
Mhm.
quilts, when I found out about that, like the way that those were put out and getting everything together,
Mhm.
letting folks know, like, start packing, we'll be leaving soon, and like this is the route that we're taking. And it was just like an open secret in front of everything because owners of the plantations are not paying attention, not thinking that the folks that they owned would have enough
Mhm.
sense and
Mhm.
to be clever enough to set these things up. So I wanted a story that was leaning in and also celebrating just our ingenuity and what we could do. We were able to take that above and beyond into the void, and cosmic horror to me is a perfect way to do that. Even though it's a Lovecraftian style story and he is racist as hell, there is still like there's something for us as black creatives to kind of play in that space and kind of uno reverse it, and that's essentially what Roots of Madness ends up being.
Yeah. No, I love that so much because I think that's what gets undersold so much is the brilliance of
Mhm.
Black people throughout time.
Yeah,
Like you can't survive that without being a genius and brilliant and while also enduring some of the harshest things ever. Like,
exactly, because like it
mhm.
doesn't make it right, it doesn't excuse any of the things that happen to us, but I really do believe it's very important to also honor the fact that,
Mhm.
again, like you and I are here, everybody that is tuning into this chat is here because
Mhm.
someone said shit is hard, but I'm gonna fucking make it.
Yeah,
Yeah.
yeah. And that's one of the reasons why I really dislike when people are like, I'm not my ancestors, because I'm like, they went
I
through
would
a lot.
hope.
Like, right.
Yeah.
Yeah, like
I would pray that I have a fraction of my
Mhm.
ancestors' resilience and
Exactly.
cleverness, ingenuity, all of that. Like, yeah.
Yeah, yeah. I'm like, yeah, anyway. go on a whole tangent. But throughout the research process, though, I was curious, like, what are some of like any obscure facts you learn or any weird facts you learn? Just because I feel like you were just doing these deep dives into like science and history, and there's
Yeah.
I always think like the truth is sometimes stranger than fiction. So I was curious if you found anything.
Yeah, so because the story initially takes place in Chicago, Illinois, I was like, Bronzeville, when did Bronzeville like really start becoming a thing? And that wasn't until a little later, like 1950 or so, learned about the Chicago Defender. But in that research, I was looking like, how were people experimenting with hair care products? And there was a
Hmm.
black scientist in Chicago, it was a black guy, and he experimented on his dog. And I was like, that is crude and horrible, but also at the same time, yeah, very right for the time, very archaic in that way. And again, just trying to figure things out. So that was one thing. Researching what they called lice back then, because in Roots of Madness issue 1, uh, white people do not show up in this series like that. And I didn't realize that until after the fact. But there's a
And
white
that's
woman who comes
good.
in. Yeah,
That's,
like it's a white,
mhm.
white woman that comes into the shop with her child, and they're there because the child has lice. And I was just like looking up like what, if back then, like what did they call it? It was like mud something. Very funny. I was like, that's pretty apt. And then
Mhm.
also like what would they use during that time to kind of to cure it. When I researched a little bit more just about what the enslaved, our ancestors and stuff, were doing on the plantation in order to like teach each other. So sometimes they would dig holes. Like there would be these holes that they would dig, and they would hold secret lessons and stuff. So that played a role in temporal as well. When we have Solomon basically take Etta to like where the rest of this plant is, and they go down into a cellar, and she's like, well shit, like how y'all build all this? And like that is just expanding on that. So little things like that, just like what animals would be used for research, and swamp rabbits, where she is, so little things like that. Also during the like post after the Civil War, a lot of plantation owners either like abandon their plantations, and the government would seize those assets, and so you could go and you could get that. So there were some black folks that were able to reclaim some of that land, or even been gifted some of that land by whoever the owner of the plantation was. And I thought that was insanely fascinating, because what
Mhm.
what a odd, exhilarating, all the words to describe post Civil War Reconstruction era, and just a lot of black wealth being built during this time that I was unaware of. Because I don't know, when you think about that time, you just think of and nothing wrong with this at all, but
Mhm.
my grandparents, their parents, sharecroppers. Like I think of things like
Mhm.
that.
Right.
And but there are other, black, like Jack and Jill around, ended up
Mhm.
coming out of that time and stuff like that. So I was really fascinated by the black wealth of it all, just coming post slavery. And I don't know, I was like, well, what if somebody decided to kind of act like the Prince Hall Freemasons, but like
Mhm.
even more, with a lot more money? Like what would that look
Yeah.
like? And it ended up being like this fellowship.
Mhm.
So very, very fascinating stuff. And I don't think this
Mhm.
is going to be the last time I tell a story during that time.
I love that. And also, someone in the chat asked your book. So it's Roots of Madness for anyone
Yes.
wanting to look it up after this. And Stephanie also does Temporal and a bunch of
Hmm.
other stuff. Look her up, go to her page, just scroll down, million comics, but
Yes,
they,
please.
yeah. But yeah, I love that. You also kind of remind me of The Banks by Roxane Gay.
Yes.
Um,
Yeah.
I don't know. So I think maybe a little bit later on that time, but not too far from that period, but also
Hmm.
dealing with like black wealth and you know, I think bank robbers too, I believe, if
Yeah.
I'm remembering, or jewel thieves. I can't remember. It's been so long since I read it. But yeah, it is just fascinating to kind of piece through.
Yeah. And then like in the case of temporal, not a cosmic horror, but sci-fi,
Mm-hmm.
and that it's a time traveling thing. And I
Mm-hmm.
said that I would never do a time traveling story for quite obvious reasons because again, thinking about it, I'm like, well, if I do a story that takes place that time travel exists, the immediate thing is this person going back to like fix slavery or prevent it? And then
Mm-hmm.
I had to really think about it. That's white people business. They get to go do time traveling stuff all the time. They don't ever think about like that's who should be
True.
going back and
Fixing.
fixing it, right?
True.
So once I put a pin in that, it was just like I can't address all of these things that's burdensome to
Mm-hmm.
me as a creator and also burdensome to my characters. And we
Mm-hmm.
just trying to have a little bit of fun. So once I was able to make peace with that and I don't know, not feel some kind of way about it that I would be beholden to fixing something so traumatic in history in my fictional story. um
Mm-hmm.
that just kind of said
Interesting.
it like it's wild to think of it that way, but like
Yeah.
how many times do we hear like a time travel whatever and a lot of us are just like, well, no, we got to go fix slavery. It's
Mhm.
like,
Right.
no, like Marty McFly, didn't nobody ask his ass to go back there and fix that, did they? No, he was in the 50s messing
Mm-hmm.
around with his mama. So that that is what's going on. So
That's
for
so true.
temporal
Where's like this like other atrocities in history? Like no one's asking him to do that either.
no.
Mm. Oh wait, I can't hear you. Did Stephanie freeze for
No.
y'all too? Oh, here we
Oh,
go.
I
Okay,
did.
you're back.
Okay, I'm back. My mama
Yeah,
called me
okay.
and I told her don't call me between 12 and 1. And
And of
mamas
course,
don't
that's
listen.
exactly when she called. No, mm-mm. My
Yes.
dad called me at 11:50, and I was like, "You got 5 minutes, like
If that.
if that."
Right. But for temporal, like I just remember there are a lot of sci-fi movies, action stuff that I really enjoy. Like I know Arnold Schwarzenegger is a problem. However, I do be locked into a good Arnold movie from the 80s and 90s. Same thing with John Claude
Mhm.
Van Damme. And Time Cop is a silly movie, but it's one that I enjoyed. And I just thought about it. I was like, well, what if there was an economy that was pretty much ran by people stealing things like Rubik's Cubes and like
Mhm.
insignificant pop cultural things, and just kind of thinking about how we engage with pop culture now with Funko Pops or when Funko Pops were a thing, not so much now, and just the commodification in general of like these popular things. And what if there was a network that our economy was based on that. So Temporal came to be simply because of that. And I wanted a character who was essentially this Black woman who had this life that is just like, girl, why would you blow this up? I literally named her Savannah because I felt like if anybody was reading this book and
Mhm.
they saw her interactions with her husband, they'd be like, that's a good man, Savannah. Like literally
Mhm.
just
Yeah,
for that moment.
you gonna blow up that
But I
car.
want, yes, but I wanted to tell a story where you have this woman who, had a successful life prior to becoming a wife and a mom. And while she is happy in this life, she's wondering, well, do I still got it? Like men get to do that all the time. So why couldn't she? And just the things that you kind of go through as if you're a career woman and also a mom at the same time, wife, and all these, you're juggling all these identities and oftentimes feeling as though, do I even remember who I am, who I was, who I am currently, who I will be? So temporal is really an exploration into that and just seeing this woman experience, what happens when we kind of get enticed by the past and like
Mhm.
what's there and not really focusing on what we currently have and what could come in the future. So it's a little messy story for my girl Savannah. Thankfully things kind of work out for her, but I was just happy to be able to tell a story like that. Like the
Yeah,
stakes are high in a sense, but at the same time we're still having fun.
that is fun.
Yes,
That is
Terry
fun.
McMillan, absolutely.
Yes,
Sorry.
also yes. No, I also saw that. Yeah, specifically for today, especially at the Black Girl Book Fair. Gotta honor Terry McMillan, Beverly Jenkins, like all the Black
Yes.
women authors. And so I saw also for Roots of Madness, the marketing has been really cool because I saw there was like
Yes.
hair oil and a comb. But I want to ask you, like, now that you've written for so many things, what is a merch tie-in that you would want to do for one of your other projects?
Shit. I almost was gonna get in trouble. So there is a thing that I'm currently working on that I feel like is the
Mhm,
worst kept secret in comics. But whenever that thing does get announced,
mhm.
because it's dealing, I mean, wow. Let me shut up. But
Okay.
there is some marketing that I would like to do. Let me just talk about marketing that didn't happen, but I hope lessons were learned
Mhm.
and will happen. So back when I was working on Nubia and the Amazons, I do this for all my comics, but I'll put the Fenty shade there so that the artist has an idea of the code. Like I'm not just describing people as like a light sienna brown or anything. Like
Mhm.
let me give
Love that.
you what foundation they would use and let you figure it out from there.
Mhm.
So the colorist posted that on Twitter at the time, so it was still Twitter. Somebody from Fenty saw that and was like, "Wait, that's actually kind of that's T. We like
Mhm.
that." So they reached out to DC Comics and we were in talks back and forth that we were going to do something beauty wise with Nubia and the Amazons. Because to me, it just made sense because one, it'd be
Yeah.
kind of dope to walk into like a Sephora or Ulta, or even like a Mac and like have different eyeshadow color swatches or whatever for the different tribes of the
Right.
Amazons, and then
Ooh.
have Wonder Woman books. Nubia and Wonder, I think Wonder Girl was still going at times, so on the side. So we are reaching out to new audiences and showing like, hey, there is a connection to this nerdy comic stuff, and then also these comics. I mean, Sailor Moon does this, right? Hello
Yeah.
Cute Kitty,
Teleport.
all of these things.
Mhm.
So unfortunately, after 2 years of back and forth, I got a lot of free fancy products. Shout out to the rep that I
Hey.
was in contact there with. Yeah. It didn't quite work out because there was something they were doing with Arcane at the time that was too close.
Mhm.
So
That
I'm hoping that we can circle back on this new
mhm.
thing that I'm working on, and
Okay.
really make that happen because it just makes
Mhm.
sense
Yeah.
for this
I like
character.
that. Okay. I'm
Yeah.
gonna have to do you after this because I'm like, you're like open secret. I'm like, I don't know,
Yeah.
but
Oh,
maybe I'll.
I will. Yeah, I'll send you a thing. Yeah, it's like a
Okay.
really very just it's hilarious actually because it's
That's
other
funny.
creatives like, so when is that book happening? And it's like
You're like, this hasn't been found.
editorials like no, but yes.
That's hilarious. Oh my gosh. And then so I'm trying to think. I do want to save some time for questions in a little bit,
Yeah.
but and so we'll switch to that probably in like a few minutes. But I think since this is a Black Girl Book Fair, what are some Black woman authored books that inform your work or that you would recommend? And we've mentioned a few already, but yeah.
Okay. So because I have to I read a lot of romance, like a lot.
Mhm.
No, it's a lot, girl.
Okay. Okay.
If I'm reading comics, I'm reading romance novels,
I love that.
Black romance novels specifically. The reason
Mhm.
for that really is because between those two, comics, regular novels, stuff like that,
Mhm.
that was the first time I had seen like a Black woman being all of not perfect basically and still
Mhm.
being worthy or being shown that she is worthy of not only just being loved but having a community behind her, having the ability to be vulnerable and to break and that not be used
Mhm.
against her. um Clearly I was not reading the Code as Winter ever when I had that thought, but right.
Yeah.
But and other stuff that I've read, so a lot of those authors, of course, the OGs, Beverly
Mhm.
Jenkins, Brenda Jackson, Cheryl Lister, um not not OG, but will be one day. Danielle Allen, I love her work.
Mhm.
Kasha Thompson, love her work. Rebecca Weatherspoon, love her
Okay.
work.
Mhm.
Reese Ryan. Oh, so many. Maureen Smith. Maureen Smith is actually the author who I reached out to when I was thinking about writing again almost 10 years ago. It was kind enough to email me back and be very encouraging. I still talk to her to this day. She's like, well, damn, girl, you took my advice and ran with it, didn't you?
I
So
love it.
that's really, I just love it. Gwen Foster, Sharon Cooper, just all of these women because I don't know, I just think about seeing the Harlequin uh
Mm-hmm.
I mean, like, in Ebony magazine, sometimes in Jet 2, they would have they had the little thing you could remove and send off to get these
Hmm.
books that I couldn't get, but my mama didn't know
Yeah.
that. So of course, yes. But of course, Octavia Butler, Toni Morrison,
Mhm.
Terry McMillan, even Black women, not even just book authors, but I think of Yvette Lee Bowser
Mhm.
and these other women in media spaces where they've shown that, we have the stories to tell. There were people who were supported. And yes, Kamani Romance was definitely a
Mhm.
vibe. So that, yes. So I don't know. I just think of these women and just how good they are. Nick Stone is another. I could
Mhm.
go all day, Victoria,
Yeah,
quite
I
clearly,
believe it.
but I am never not reading a Black woman's work. Kennedy Ryan was at an
Mhm.
event that I was at in Richland Library in Columbia, and my panel was during her panel, and I almost didn't go to my panel so that I can
I
go to her panel.
understand.
That's how serious it is.
Hmm. No, I totally get it. I totally get it. I would also question. I'm like, ooh, maybe I could just like do half and go over
Hmm.
something.
I
We can
really
come
wanted
out.
to, yes, and I spoke and I was like, can I? And she was like, no, girl, you gotta stay.
So hopefully you get to meet her another day if you haven't
I hope
already.
so.
Mhm. Yeah. I'll also add, it's funny because as you were mentioning it, I realized that Black romance is always what gets me back into reading a lot of the times when I've been in
Yes.
slum. And
Mhm.
Tia Williams and Christina Forrest were
Yes.
two recently. And
Yes.
then, I mean, not really, but the closest ones are Ever and Fly Girl with like early days and stuff. If
Yeah,
you
you
count
gotta.
that like romance, maybe ish, I don't know. Um,
I'm
and
even gonna bring up Zayn, and that's a little.
Zayn, yeah.
Well, I mean, yeah, but even still, a couple of her books
Mhm.
got turned into TV shows that you can watch on
Mhm.
Skinemax. The tea on that, though, forget the hunching scenes. I was actually locked into the broader storyline, and I just remember one day I was home from college, and it was like summer break or whatever, and my brother was like, "What the fuck are you watching?" And I was like, "Do not judge me.
Mhm.
It's Skinamax." And then he ended up getting locked in. I said, "Oh," when I went back to school, I was like, "Oh, you've been watching it, huh?" Mm. And I was like,
Mhm.
the storylines eat, don't they? Hunch and be damned, the storylines eat.
Right.
So anyway, but like that's a success. Like I don't think that's
Mhm.
ever happened before to have a Black woman have her erotica turned into TV shows. Like say what you will about Zayn, we all have our thoughts and stuff on her, but like in that aspect, like I can tip my hat off
Mhm.
to her in that way.
Yeah,
I
I
am
would
hoping
completely agree.
to one day do some and I spoke to an author already about this,
Yeah.
but romance author, but adapting her book into a
Mhm.
graphic novel.
That would be amazing. I thought you were going to say a Zane into a novel, into a graphic novel, which would be cool
Oh, I
too. But
mean, that
also
would be cool,
another
but
one
yeah,
too.
yeah,
Yeah,
yeah, yeah,
I like
yeah,
that.
yeah.
That would be, oh my gosh. Now I want this. This is why it's hard talking to creatives. So they all be coming up with ideas, and I'm like, well, now I need it tomorrow.
Need it tomorrow. I see somebody mention
Mhm.
Addicted. Yes, I dragged my husband to take me
Yeah.
to the movies to see that, and I walked out quiet
Mhm.
because I said, "What the hell was that?"
That was a lot. That was a lot. Also mentioned someone earlier said that we called it urban fiction, but it was really dark romance, and I kind of agree with that.
Yes, you know
I agree
what?
with that.
Excellent point. Yes.
Hmm. To see a magical mystery black novel go to Hollywood, yes, that is yes,
Yeah,
yes, yes,
yeah.
yes. Yeah. If anyone has any questions, feel free to drop it in the chat. I don't see the question and answer option anymore. But if you have any questions, you can drop it. But in the meantime, do you have any advice for comic book creators? I feel like people always ask you this. You always have good advice. So I'm sure there's some in the crowd today, and you have so much experience. If you could share.
Yeah, so
Mhm,
I know scripting is something that a lot of
mhm,
writers will ask me because there are no set comic scripts in the same
mhm.
way there is for like screenplays.
Right.
There are resources. I also need to get better about showing them. Like you email me or message me, I'm more than happy to send you a Dropbox link. But
Mhm,
there are Jim's Up, his website, he has like a lot of resources on there that include scripts, how to pitch, all of these things. But when it comes to comic scripting, the point is that it needs to be not even necessarily a love letter. Like it doesn't, I hope that it doesn't read like IKEA instructions. Try to avoid that.
mhm,
But you are communicating to not just your artist, but your editor, your colorist, your letterer, all of these things. So just making sure that you are communicating to the best of your ability in
mhm,
these scripts. The and then the format really won't matter because like if you got the format down but you're not doing a very good job of communicating,
mhm,
it doesn't matter, right? So if you see a script, you do not have to be beholden to that script. You can change it to work to your benefit. Like the scripts that I have now look night and
mhm,
day difference from when I first started writing Newbie in the Amazon. So it's something that's ever changing and evolving. Another piece of
mhm.
advice, and I know y'all are tired of this, but that first draft is going to be ugly, baby. It's okay. Like it's supposed to be ugly. And if
Yeah.
you are working with
Mhm,
editors, let them do their job. Stop stressing
mhm,
yourself out trying to make it perfect. Um, I am telling you this, I'm still a work in progress when it comes to that, but you really have to get to a point that, the first draft, you're just getting it all out and you're going to work through
mhm,
it. So remember that. And again, if you're working with editors, please let them
mhm,
do their job. Like they are there to help you and your story. You do not have to figure it out all out
mhm,
at that time. When it comes, if you're a writer and you're looking for artists, social media is your best friend, especially Instagram. If
mhm,
you happen to go to conventions, that would be a great time to introduce yourself to different artists, get their contact information, get to know them. If you're somebody who is hoping to have some type of, I don't know, longevity in this business, three things that you should have is be kind. And I can get a little bit more into what that actually means. Be kind, meet your deadlines, and
mhm,
just also make sure that, people don't groan when they hear your name. Now, the be kind thing can be a little tricky when you're a Black woman because you're too nice, then you become, uh, I don't know, like you end up taking on too much. But if you
mhm,
are, you happen to not smile once, then all of a sudden you are just hard to work with and all these things. So it's
mhm,
that's a an interesting line to toe, but for me, it's just let people get to know you or
mhm,
use your discretion, essentially.
mhm,
If you have editors and stuff, let them get to know you. Because a lot of jobs that I've gotten have been because editors have gotten to know me, like Street Sharks. Yeah,
mhm.
don't be rude. Basically, don't be an asshole. We are making stories, right? There is no
Right.
reason to yell at someone, to just have a nasty attitude because it's
Mhm.
fiction. Like, why are we choosing
Yeah.
that? Like, we're supposed to
Mhm,
be like it's serious, it's a job, but at the end of the day, like we're supposed to be here for fun.
mhm,
I'm thankful that I had a career before this, so I was able to, get my sense through the trenches and working in service jobs and just working
mhm,
in the lab, working with doctors and stuff like that. But it's fiction, baby. So it's never that serious. Don't be a jackass.
mhm. No, that's real. Kindness will go a long way. So I
It will
agree.
go so far.
Mhm,
And like I can assure you, like I know for a fact there have been things that I've gotten just simply because I happened to like hit an editor up and I was like, hey, I'm just trying to like, how are you doing? I'm not even looking for nothing. Like I
mhm,
legitimately, I haven't heard from you a while. How are you doing? Life is a lot for a lot of people. So just checking in on folks and just creating, I mean, teaching your, I mean, Um, Interacting with your fellow creators as though they are also human too goes a long
Mhm.
way.
Yeah,
Yes.
yeah. Someone said as someone new to comics, what would you recommend to start with?
I'm sorry, I saw the Tracy Dion thing and that just made me
Oh,
mad. Yeah, yeah.
yeah. I was
Yeah.
just gonna bring it up. When you said that, I was like, you know what? We said enough.
Yeah. So
When you
if
said the part
but
about not smiling, I was like, yep. But anyway.
yeah.
Mhm.
Um I would recommend, of course, N.K. Jemisin's Far Sector. I literally just reread that
Mhm.
myself for a pitch, just because she does some really interesting things that I think comics should do more of. And I'm hoping that we'll get more of that. Um, this is an old one, but you can find it on Marvel Unlimited. It is a Monica Rambeau one shot. It's written by Dwayne McDuffie. And it is a story of her basically regaining her powers because she loses them when she's with the Avengers. So Dwayne McDuffie tells a very beautiful story of just Monica Rambeau, one being supported by her mom, her fellow superheroes, and then her basically, working her way back to greatness and embracing that. And then I guess one more rec would be Jackie's Monster
Yeah.
High series because it's just fun. I love it.
Very fun. The good thing about Far Sector as well, going back to that, is they now have like the like kind of manga size edition they can get, so
Hmm.
you don't have to collect all the individual issues, which has been really convenient for me at least.
Yeah. Yeah, no,
Um,
I love those. Also, real
yeah.
quick, it's this might not be good for a beginner, or maybe it is, but
Mhm.
I love me some Junji Ito. I just
Mm,
read the Enigma of the Amigra or my something fault. I'm blanking on the middle thing,
yeah.
but I enjoyed it. It was creepy
Okay.
and I was like, all right, but yeah. Get you some
The
Junji
art,
Ito in your life.
one day I'm gonna be brave enough to read one of his work, but today's not that
Just
day.
no, I wouldn't because I read that before bed and that wasn't really smart.
Oh,
Yeah,
no.
yeah,
Yeah, it's okay.
yeah.
I'll wait to a daylight, a nice, bright, sunny day. Go to the
Okay.
park. So it says when it comes to cosmic horror, how do you balance the unknown and not making it a deus ex machina?
Ooh.
Hmm.
Um, that is a great question. And it is one that I don't have a specific answer with because I feel like I subscribe to going with the flow. So whatever the story calls for, and I've just looked up that I have not veered that way. For cosmic
Hmm.
horror, like you don't remember, like you don't have to necessarily define anything. Like that's the horror of it all because we're dealing with undefined things. So it's okay to leave stuff vague. It's okay to get a little messy. And yeah, like you don't have to like overly define anything. Like that's the beauty of cosmic horror. It's just weird shit happening, and we just make peace with that.
Yeah. All right. Well, we have 3 minutes left. I saw
Yeah,
Jackie gave us our
yeah.
5 minute warning. Is there anything else you would like to say that we didn't cover? Um, I'll see some of the questions.
Uh,
I don't have access to the question pocket live. Like it disappeared for me. So I'm sorry if
yeah,
you wrote a
I don't
question in
know.
there, but if you want to drop it in the comments, we can maybe answer one more. So sorry. I don't know where it went.
Well, and
Um,
until we find it,
mhm,
recently it was announced I'm writing more Wonder Woman. So
mhm,
issues 35 and 36 is a retelling of Diana's origin story. And
mhm,
remember how I said I really love romance? Well, this story is told from Steve's perspective. And I know the
mhm.
fear there is that the story won't really be about Diana. No, no, no. It's about Diana. I took the wife guy approach to this, and I
Oh, cute.
basically wrote it as though, a classic. He's not black, but whatever. That's what I read. So, what a classic black male lead from a
Mhm,
Beverly Jenkins, Brenda Jackson book would
mhm,
tell the story of a woman that he loves. So that was
mhm,
that's where that's coming from. If
mhm,
anybody watches Monarch Legacy of Monsters, I wrote a Kate and May story that'll be out on July 15th. I love
mhm.
Godzilla, so that was really cool to be able to do
That's
that.
fun.
And more horror is on the way from me. who knew? I know a lot of people know me from being funny on Twitter, but I guess I am beating. I'm not beating the allegations that funny people do a lot of horror because here I am doing it. Come on,
Mm-hmm.
Westmoreland. Yeah. Westmoreland, Medeiros, all that. Yes.
Right. I was gonna say somebody. There's something here. I said someone asked about like how do you advise you feel when your story's not worth telling. I would say if you're passionate about it, your story is worth telling.
It's worth telling.
It's worth
Yeah.
telling. Oh, and
And
this is.
don't,
Mhm.
oh, no, I was going to say real quick, if the fear is that nobody else will be interested, trust me, baby, there will be other people interested. It's somebody reading something right now about a woman falling in love with a door, so you'll be fine.
There you go. And also, this conversation will be recorded and shared. I think if you got a ticket for Black Girl Book Fair, Jackie will send it around. But also, I think it might be saved on the Black Girl Book Fair page. So if you want to revisit it, it will be recorded. I agree. Stephanie dropped a lot of gems. So this is incredible. Thank you, Stephanie, for joining. This was fun.
No, thank you. Yes. This was an excuse for me to not have to go to my son's carnival at his school with all them kids. So thank y'all for this. Okay.
Perfect. Perfect.
Thank you. Oh my gosh, you
All
guys are
right.
so intelligent,
Yeah.
lovely, beautiful, and smart.
All right, I'm hopping off. I just want to say thank you, Jackie, again. Thank you for like putting this together. You are so dope. And anytime you need anything from me, you know how to reach me.
Yeah.
Oh, thank you so much. And
And same thing in Victoria. I will be bugging you because I know you've been working with my girl Asia
Yeah,
Fulmore, so I'm gonna be bugging
I
you soon.
have. Yes, definitely.
Yes,
I appreciate you answering all my DM questions.
of course.
Yeah.
And there's no point in me being here if I'm not going to pay it for it, right? As you climb, you must lift. So I'll leave it at that.
Love
I
it.
love
All
Love
right.
it.
that.
Bye, y'all.
All right,
And thank
bye.
you, Jackie. I'm also going to hop off, but you're doing amazing. And I'll see you later.
Thanks, bye. Okay, everybody. Oh, is it just me now? Uh-oh. Uh-oh. It looks like it's frozen, but it's also just me. So thank you to the both of them. They are immaculate, amazing, wonderful. Um, I'm going to get off so that I can save this live, and then we will be back for the next one, which is Zine Making 101 with Dream Girl World Zine. So, all right. Bye, everybody.